VAFA TV at vafatv.com.
Hello, welcome to the Premier Section Finals preview. It's preliminary final time. I'm joined by John Kanis, of course, University Blues Premiership coach from 2004. John, this is the time of the year you like to enjoy, preliminary final chance to have a crack at a grand final.
Oh, that's right. And we were eliminated in preliminary finals about 3-4 times, I think, in my time. So it's a grueling game. It's a great weekend where you see the best amongst the best couple of sides really put to the test.
The relief of making a grand final is bigger after the prelim than from a second semi, or you feel it more because it is that cutthroat?
Yeah, look, I think that's right. We did win a couple of second semis, and I always felt that once you're in a second semi, you know you've got that chance, and I personally felt that we were the better side going into the second semi, so I thought it was where we should be. But preliminary finals, you come in as underdog to a certain extent, I think. And, it is a different form of pressure. You've got some burners that have been up there all year who were sort of, perhaps they weren't, they were 50-50 on last week, but now the pressure is on them because they're always one of the best two sides all year. Collegians have just been back in the pack, just got their noses in about round 16 or 17 into definite likely finalists. And so they're coming and enjoying the rarefied air, I would say. Yeah, so we'll be interested to see how they go from here.
The beauty of it is, of course, with the way that it was scheduled, collegians have a 7-day break, so there's no problems from that side of things. Looking at the sides that played last week, in particular, Collegian's side that played last week, very different to the one that last time they played St Bernard's. Of course, they haven't beaten the Snow Dogs in either of their 2 games this year.
Yeah, well, look, I can comment on the game we saw at Collegians, and Collegians at that stage of the year were struggling a bit. They were all over the shop. They had a lot of new players in their side, and you could just see them trying to get their method going, which has held them in good stead through so many other final series. Whereas St Bernard's relied more on their brilliance. It took them to the last quarter to really break them open, and they went on to a comfortable win in the end. But it was tight for 3 quarters, and I think that. Whilst St Bernard's have played the whole year now under Anthony Rock and played together as a unit, the Collegian side has really just come together in the second half of the year, and they've added some well-known, proven players into their side. So,
do you have a leaning at this point on how you see the game going?
Well, look, I'd have to see what it is. I worry about St Bernard's coming off that game last week against Uni Blacks, where really not much went right for them. So I worry about their headspace coming out of it, and I worry about the fact that Collegians have got nothing to lose, and that they've got
spot in the grand final.
A spot in the grand final, I guess. But I mean, they were lucky to be in the finals as it was. So. Look, their great run might come to an end, a la Richmond, from having so many weeks of playing cutthroat football. Yeah. But, they've got a lot of hard heads that have played in A-grade premierships, been there before. They've got a tried and true formula and the method with which they play. And I suspect, given a decent day, it could worry St Bernard's.
They've also played more games recently at Sports Cover Arena, Collegians as well, in the last few years in terms of big finals. Obviously, St Bernard's came through the Premier B finals a few years ago, but this is their first finals campaign in a 3-year period as well.
Yeah, well, that is something. They've got a lot of new players that might not have been around at that time when they were in Premier B a few years ago. And the other thing about it is, Elstonwick Park or Sports Cover does put on many different faces according to what the weather's done. We all know that the big blowy wind down in that golf course pocket, it can be blowing gently up towards Glen Ire Road, which is the most ideal one, or it could rain during the week and soften the ground up because the ball is hitting the ground and rolling hard and fast, which is a completely different skill set and a different set of circumstances and different ground to if there is a bit of rain between now and Saturday that takes the sting out of the ground. It changes the way the game is.
So, final tip, who do you think is going to win the game? Early as we film this earlier in the week.
Early week, well, you do get, I'm thinking that North Melbourne are looking like they're going to beat Geelong. I'm thinking that Port are looking like they're going to beat Fremantle. In reality, it doesn't happen. But the same thing in the amateurs. I'm thinking at the moment, well, maybe Collegians can knock St Bernard's off. They're the ones confident and on the roll. So I'm thinking like that at the moment, but maybe common sense will hit me later in the week. Stay tuned for further selections.
Join the coverage on 96.5 Inter FM Saturday from 2 p.m. It'll be St Bernard's and Collegians in the preliminary final, and of course the Premier B Grand Final on the Sunday, also from 2 p.m. It's your mob Uni Blues trying to win a flag against Old Carey.
Your mob, Old Carey. Are you allowed to say that?
Oh, maybe.
You got to come back around somewhere, Andrew.
We'll see you soon.
VAFA TV at vafatv.com.